Jamal never heard the rain that night, though it beat the roof like someone demanding entrance. He was too exhausted. Bone deep, soul deep exhausted, the kind that comes from working 2 jobs, raising a child alone, and doing everything in his power to make sure the world never saw how close he was to falling apart. When he finally collapsed onto the couch, still wearing his work clothes, he didn't expect the night to hold anything other than dreams he'd forget by morning. But dawn came with a soft clatter from the kitchen, ceramic tapping lightly, careful footsteps, something warm drifting through the air. Coffee, eggs, and something else, something impossible. He sat up too quickly. His shirt, his favorite gray one, the only shirt that still looked decent enough for job interviews, was missing from the armrest where he'd tossed it the night before. Then he smelled lavender, and the world slowed. Standing barefoot at the stove was a woman he recognized from a distance most people only ever saw through billboards, magazine covers, and glowing screens. Her hair was tied up, her posture graceful, her presence commanding even in silence. And she wore his shirt. Alexis Hart, the youngest self-made CEO on the East Coast. A billionaire tech visionary who'd built an empire out of an app that helped people rebuild their financial lives. A woman whose time was worth more per hour than he made in a month. And she was in his kitchen, cooking. Jamal blinked once, twice. I'm sorry, what's happening? She turned, spatula in hand, face warm but eyes tired. Good morning, she said, like this was all perfectly normal. I hope you don't mind, your daughter insisted I stay for breakfast. His heart stopped. My daughter. A small set of footsteps pattered through the hallway. Then a tiny missile in dinosaur pajamas hurled herself into him. Daddy, I helped save her. Save her. He looked at his daughter, then at Alexis, then back. His mind raced to reconstruct the night. The last thing he remembered was driving home from the night shift, the rain turning the streets into mirrors. Then headlights, too bright. A figure on the sidewalk, stumbling. Stopping his car, jumping out. A woman soaked, shaking, clutching an ankle that was swollen and bruised. Her lips barely forming words. I don't want to go to a hospital. Please. That was all. He had helped her into his car. Brought her home. Set her on the couch while his daughter fetched a blanket and a first aid kit. He remembered offering tea. He remembered intending to stay awake in case she needed anything. And then nothing. His daughter, 6 years old with a heart too big for her body, tugged on his sleeve. Daddy. She hurt her foot. She tried to walk but I told her to rest. She wanted to leave, but I said she had to stay and be safe. Oh, Alexis said softly, she was very insistent. Jamal pressed a hand to his forehead. Right, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to fall asleep. I should have made sure you were okay. Are you hurt anywhere else? I'm fine, she said gently. Just embarrassed. And incredibly grateful. He shook his head. Grateful. I didn't do anything special. But she smiled at him like he'd done the most extraordinary thing. You stopped, she said. That's more special than you realize. He didn't know how to respond. So he busied himself by getting plates, careful not to look too long at how comfortably she filled out his shirt or how surreal it all felt. His life wasn't the kind where CEOs made breakfast in his kitchen. As they sat down to eat, something shifted in the air. His daughter animatedly retold the story of helping with the ice pack. Alexis listened like the tale was a priceless gift. She laughed softly, too softly for the woman the world knew as the Ice Queen of Finance. And Jamal watched her, really watched her, and saw not the titan of industry but a woman who looked like she hadn't slept in days, a woman carrying an invisible weight. Why were you out walking in a storm? He finally asked. She hesitated. Then, with surprising honesty, she said, I was running away. He froze. She took a breath. From a board meeting. From the pressure. From people who look at me and see a machine instead of a person. I stepped outside for air, twisted my ankle, and suddenly realized I couldn't even make one mistake without someone turning it into a headline. I panicked. I didn't want to be found. I just wanted to breathe. There was a silence that felt sacred. Jamal swallowed. Everyone needs somewhere they can breathe. She gave him a grateful look, the kind people only give when someone finally understands something they've been carrying alone. Over breakfast, barriers loosened. Jamal told her about raising his daughter alone since his wife passed away 3 years ago. About working extra shifts to keep their home. About wanting to show his daughter a world that could be kind, even when life wasn't. Alexis listened with a softness that made him feel seen in a way he hadn't been in years. His daughter offered Alexis a dinosaur sticker, to make her foot feel better. And Alexis took it as though accepting a royal medal, pressing a kiss to the child's forehead. And something in that simple kindness, reciprocal, honest, human, warmed the entire room. When breakfast ended, Jamal helped her to the couch to rest her ankle again. He knelt beside her to check the swelling. His hands were steady, too steady for the storm inside him. "You're good with people," she said quietly. "I'm just doing what anyone would." "No," she said gently, "not anyone." Their eyes met, and something unspoken stretched between them, recognition, maybe. Or gratitude. Or something softer. Then his daughter burst into the room wearing a superhero cape. "Super Daddy saved you," she declared proudly. Alexis smiled. Yes, he did. Jamal felt heat rise in his face. But Alexis's expression wasn't teasing. It was reverent. As the morning stretched on, she insisted on helping with the dishes despite the ankle. He insisted she sit down. She insisted she was fine. They compromised by washing dishes together at half speed, accidentally bumping elbows and laughing like they'd known each other longer than a night. When her driver finally arrived, having tracked her phone, Alexis stood at the doorway with an expression Jamal couldn't decipher. "I owe you more than a thank you," she said softly. "You don't owe me anything," he replied. Her voice grew even gentler. "That's exactly why I do." His daughter hugged her goodbye. Alexis knelt, pressing the dinosaur sticker to the child's hand. "For courage," she whispered. Then she stood, barefoot in his shirt, and looked at him like she wanted to say one more thing. "Jamal," she said, "you gave me something I haven't felt in a long time." "What's that?" "A safe place." He swallowed hard. She hesitated, then added, "I'll return your shirt. But I'd like to return something else too. Something better." He tried to smile through the confusion. "What's that?" She stepped closer and said a sentence that left him frozen. "I'd like to help you the way you helped me. Not because you asked, but because you deserve it." Before he could respond, her driver opened the car door. She gave him one last look, grateful, soft, almost hopeful, then disappeared inside. The door shut, the car pulled away, and Jamal stood there, still barefoot on the front step, holding his daughter's hand and wondering if kindness really had the power to change the course of a life. 2 days passed. He didn't expect to hear from her. People like him didn't cross paths with people like her twice. He returned to work, took his daughter to school, cooked meals, paid bills, life moving on like nothing extraordinary had happened. Until the morning he found a letter in his mailbox. A handwritten one. He opened it at the kitchen table, heart pounding. "Jamal, I hope your week has been gentle. Mine has been different in the best way. I've thought a lot about that night, about what you offered me without asking for anything in return. Kindness like yours is rare. I want to honor it in a way that matters. I've arranged something for you. Please don't see it as charity. See it as a return on human investment, the most valuable kind. Someone from my company will contact you today. I promise it's good news. With gratitude, Alexis." He reread the letter 3 times, unsure whether to laugh or panic or both. Then his phone rang. By noon, he learned that she had paid off the remainder of his mortgage. By evening, he learned she had set aside a college scholarship fund for his daughter. And by the time he put his daughter to bed, still trying to process the tidal wave of impossibility, he realized something even bigger. Alexis hadn't done this out of guilt. She had done it out of understanding. Because she knew what it felt like to bear too much alone. And she knew the value of being breathed back to life by someone's warmth, someone who asked for nothing, expected nothing, and judged nothing. But the story didn't end there. 3 days later, on a quiet Saturday morning, a knock came at the door. He opened it expecting a delivery. Maybe paperwork. Instead he found her, standing in jeans and a simple sweater, his shirt folded neatly in her hands. "Hi," she said, breath warming the cool morning air. He stared, speechless. You came yourself." She smiled softly. I wanted to return this personally. He took the shirt, still stunned. You didn't have to do any of what you did. She shook her head. I didn't have to. I wanted to. There was a silence neither of them tried to fill. It wasn't awkward. It felt like an invitation for truth. Finally, she said, that night changed me. You changed me. That's not possible, he whispered. Her eyes glistened. It is. You reminded me that humanity is real. That people can be kind without being asked. That the world still has places where no one expects anything but sincerity. It made me rethink everything. Jamal didn't know what to say. So he let his heart speak the only way it knew how. You're welcome here, he said softly. Anytime. Her breath caught. A tiny, unguarded sound. Good, she whispered, because I'd like to come back. His daughter barreled toward them then, cheering her name. Alexis knelt with open arms, catching the child in a hug that looked like it belonged in a family photo. Jamal watched them, his heart full, overwhelmed, unsure how his ordinary life had collided with something so extraordinary. And then Alexis stood and met his eyes with a quiet bravery. Maybe, she said, voice barely above a breath, this is a place I was meant to find. The world outside went still. Inside, something shifted, gentle but seismic. Compassion had started a ripple. Kindness transformed it. And now, standing at his doorway with his daughter's laughter ringing through the house, Jamal realized that sometimes the most unexpected people walk into your life not by chance, but by need. Theirs, and yours. He welcomed her inside, not because she was a CEO, not because of what she'd done, but because kindness had built a bridge between two souls who thought they were walking alone. And that morning, just like the night she needed shelter, Jamal opened the door. This time, not to help a stranger, but to let someone in. Final message. And so, the story ends with a truth woven into every act of compassion. A single moment of kindness can change the direction of a life, even when you least expect it. A reminder that humanity's greatest power is simple, to care, without condition, without hesitation, without measure. And sometimes, that's enough to change everything.